All right, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you had a nice trading day. Today is July 8th, 2021. Today was a tough day. Markets were not very easy today, not giving us uh, really many A plus entries or just not rewarding the timing of our entries. So, very, very challenging day for me today personally. Up and down, got my position saved or my day saved by a nice trade on the SPY. We can talk about that later, but let's do a quick little market recap. So, in the pre-market session, we sort of discussed a little bit how all the bearish setups still looked like they were a ways away, and I wasn't expecting much bearish follow through. Right, that it looked like it was a buy the dip type sell off. Well, that was sort of the reaction we got today. Right, we definitely had some bullish action, but just could not get all the way back up towards sort of yesterday's area. Right, we filled the gap reasonably well on the SPY, but couldn't hold it. What I do like is the volume was pretty aggressive. So after that sell-off from all-time highs, with really big volume protecting that, say, 428 area, right, it does feel like the bullish case for the S&P 500 still very much in play. Right, similar story on QQQ, where right, you got a nice breakout, right, like after that sort of gap down this morning, and held, filled that gap and then held relatively well. So, the all-time high story or the all-time high test still in play, right? Path of least resistance still probably looks to be to the upside, and that's generally the theme of the day, right? Apple, same concept, right? We're getting these same concepts across the board in all of our sort of various setups, right? Some names were able to recover a little bit more and get back a little bit more aggressively, but nothing too aggressive. And we didn't really miss out on any monsters today, right? There were a few plays that I was really excited about, but just couldn't get that right follow through, especially first thing this morning. Right, I was struggling a little bit getting my timing right. And that was best exemplified by this AMC trade. So AMC, right? The basic theory is a Bollinger Band reversion. So what that means, right, is you open outside, close inside. Volume is well above average or sort of well above previous day's high. Certainly got that right. Very minimal top wicks. Couldn't continue to get there's no sellers there, right? So looked for an opportunity for an entry, right? Entry was a break of this high of that $43 area, so hanging out right at that psych zone. I was looking for a play, right? We had a little dip right off the opening bell. Right, so we had that breakout, right, and then we had that little sell-off, right, and looked to enter on a re-break of that high, and then just kept kind of chopping about, and just could not get that follow through. So the decay on those premiums was starting to get pretty aggressive, and I just couldn't stomach holding it any longer. I wish I did. I cut out, for about 25% loss, and it went back and then some a little bit earlier, but just stopped looking like we were going to get that follow through, and it became a little bit challenging to hold. Really good example though of why your position and account management is incredibly important when it comes to trading, because a 25% loss, although it sucks, it's pretty easy to make that back if if you're responsible with your position sizing, right, and you don't take any unnecessary risks. So definitely the theme of today was, right, position management and account management. Right, we chopped about a little bit, just couldn't get that timing right, and so that's sometimes the way things go. It's unfortunate, a little bit unlucky, but it's nice to know that at least the idea was correct, even if the timing was a little bit off. So maybe could have done a little bit better holding this out. Right, placed my stop loss at that 41.68 area. If I would have lightened my position size a little bit, I think I could have maybe made that work. But I went pretty aggressive with my position sizing, right? Full position size, and took a pretty decent loss on it. So, not super thrilled with that process, but happy that it was at least the right analysis, right? So the trade that saved me today was a SPY trade. This is quickly starting to become one of my sort of favorite setups that we tend to get. So for me, volume is a big piece of the puzzle. Right, I want to see volume to support any thesis, right? If I see well above average volume. Let's find a better example here, right? If I find bearish engulfing volume, right, like this July 6th, but then like it makes it hard to want to look for those bullish plays, right? So you want volume and your thesis to sort of sync up and to match. So I guess kind of look at what that meant on the SPY today, right? We had a really nice possible reversal play. So a couple things I like about this candle. For about 27 of its 30 minutes that it was printing, this thing was bearish engulfing, and we had dip buyers come in there at the very last minute, but didn't make a higher high and made a lower low. So that's a relatively, bearish candle sign, right? And then the candle volume was bearish as well, right? So that gives you, like, maybe points you towards the direction that your bias should be to the downside, where, volume is selling volume. Then you probably want to be looking for, downside action, right? So if this was that play alone, right, if this red hammer was the setup alone, that's not a trade you can take, right? If we go to our bearish candlesticks, right, we know that that's not a very traditionally bearish candle, right? So you look at this least bearish candle, compare it to this, right, SPY candle there, and so that's not exactly particularly the most bearish one, but volume was particularly strong. What gave me confidence that this was going to give us some weakness was what's called an inside bar, right? And an inside bar is a candle that closes within the previous candle's high and low, right? Where the previous high is under the previous high and the previous low is at or above the previous low. So we got a nice inside candle here, right, on still relatively decent volume. Couldn't make a higher high, couldn't make a lower low, right? That tells me consolidation. So you can almost like combine these two candles together, like merge them into one and merge their volume into one when you get that inside bar, right? So setup was, right, bearish engulfing volume, which is this. Confirmation of the setup was inside bar, and then your entry on this trade was a break of this low, which will be green, right, with a stop loss at this red, right, at the high of your entry candle. So we played this down pretty nicely for about 75 cents. And I was able to get off like a 27% win or something along those lines before closing my position. I tried to close half at 145, and I did, but just could not get any further follow through, so closed the rest of my position like a few cents off of that. So pretty nice win. No complaints. Gonna save my day a little bit. And sort of a nice trade, right? Like that inside bar consolidation candle is quickly starting to become like one of my favorite plays, and really important to be disciplined and kind of wait for that, right? But still able to finish on a negligible green day, simply because did adequate position management, right? I didn't get scared off because of my previous trade, right? So I still maintained consistent sizing. And I didn't do something stupid like try to revenge trade and go huge size on this next play, right? Keep things consistent. Keep things always within one trade, and you're going to be just fine. If you start chasing big wins or start chasing big lottos, you're going to get yourself hurt. So that's the basic trade recap for today. We might have a few things setting up for tomorrow, but we'll have to see how they look overnight. So I hope you guys had a really good day, and hopefully it was a little bit better than mine. But see you guys tomorrow in the pre-market stream. And happy hunting out there, guys, and enjoy the rest of your Thursday.